Is Easter pagan? I'm sure you've seen videos where someone's talked about connections of pagan goddesses to Easter and tried to sell the holiday as pagan. Well, that's kind of baseless. At best, you could say there may be an etymological tie to Eostre, a pagan goddess, but it's a name only. But what is the connection? Easter was chosen to be the Sunday after Passover in which Jesus died and was resurrected, which would have happened around the springtime. Now, once you enter the Germanic regions around the pagans, there would be a month that was named after Eostre, at least according to one source, and that source is contested, called Eostre Minot. To suggest this connection implies Easter is pagan is to accuse anyone using Thursday as being a Thor worshipper, or someone celebrating the 4th of July as worshipping Julius Caesar. The month lost religious meaning was just a name for that month. The funny thing is, this is a fairly English and Germanic thing, and most languages actually refer to it as names related to Passover called Pascha. But it is likely the English called it Easter because of the month it fell on, and it became a Eostre Minot festival, which eventually became Easter Festival, especially as the West began to adopt the calendar used today. But what about the eggs and the hares? It doesn't seem to be biblically connected, so it must be something related to paganism, right? Well, not quite. It is actually hard to tell, as there are examples of this dating back to the 1500s, but no origin point. But speculations were made in the 19th century claiming a possible connection to a fable where a bird was transformed by Eostre to a rabbit, and it was laying eggs. Unfortunately, there are no writings outside one Christian source talking about Eostre. And all of the writings talking about this connection comes from sources that treats Christian holidays as pagan, despite the evidence. And it seems to have just continued despite the lack of evidence. Now, as far as these traditions, we don't really have any connections to Eostre, and it's primarily because we know so little about her. What we do know is that Easter began to spread to these regions, and the date was selected because of the week of Passover where Christ died and was resurrected, but there's no evidence of it being tied to paganism. The traditions are not a staple of the holiday, and despite the lack of evidence trying to tie it to paganism, you are free to include them or exclude them from the observance of the holiday. Easter is truly a Christian holiday and has no ties to paganism. God bless you.